Welcome to my channel. Try to hear the latest story.
At a wedding we went to, my wife spent the entire evening dancing with her male best friend, acting as if I didn't exist. When someone asked if she was married, she laughed and said, "Barely. It doesn't matter when he's dull." The group chuckled. I stood there watching. The next morning, she woke up alone. My marriage ended last Saturday night. No shouting, no shattered dishes, no grand confrontation. It ended with her laugh. A sharp, cruel sound that echoed in the glitzy hotel ballroom, revealing everything I needed to know. Let's rewind. I'm Jack. My wife, ex-wife now, I suppose, is Emma. We were married for 4 years. On the outside, we probably seemed fine. Nice home, fancy cars, the whole package. But beneath the surface, the cracks were deep. I sensed it for about a year. I'm a perceptive guy. I pick up on things. And what I picked up on was Ryan. Ryan, her best friend. Her brother from another mother. For the first few years, I played the role of the trusting, laid-back husband. I convinced myself their bond was just history, nothing more. But over the past year, after we tied the knot, something shifted in her. Her sense of entitlement ballooned, while her respect for me dwindled in equal measure. The warning signs went from subtle hints to glaring red flags waving right in front of me. It was the endless texting. The phone tilted just out of my view whenever his name popped up. It was how she'd weave him into every conversation, measuring my decisions against what Ryan would have done. The moment I knew I had to prepare my exit was 8 months ago. We were planning a trip for our anniversary. I'd spent weeks researching a cozy mountain lodge, the kind of serene retreat we used to enjoy together. When I showed her the photos, she barely reacted. The next day, she came back with a new idea. Ryan thought we should hit up a trendy beachfront resort instead. "It's supposed to be incredible," she said. It wasn't a suggestion. It was a plan she'd already finalized with him. My efforts were irrelevant. We went to the resort. I spent 4 days watching her send him snapshots of the ocean. That's when it hit me. I wasn't the chill husband. I was a stand-in, a bankroll, the stable, predictable backdrop to the thrilling life she was chasing with others. So I stopped being a pushover. Quietly. I'm not one for dramatic outbursts. That's her territory. I'm a strategist. I started laying the groundwork. My first move was a call to a lawyer, a savvy one recommended by a buddy. I booked a 90-minute meeting to understand my options and obligations. The house was in my name, purchased before I met her. That was key. The lawyer guided me on safeguarding my assets. The next day, I opened new bank accounts at a different institution. I began funneling most of my income there, leaving just enough in our joint account to avoid suspicion. I was carving out an escape path step by step. I knew I'd need it. I just didn't know when. The wedding last Saturday was the breaking point. It was for her college friend. A lavish, over-the-top affair. Emma was in her element. She thrives in the spotlight. She'd bought a stunning new dress for the occasion. One she casually noted was a bit expensive, and charged to our shared card. She spent the night glued to Ryan's side, laughing loudly, twirling on the dance floor, making a scene. She barely acknowledged me, and I let her. I wasn't there to beg for her attention. I was there to watch, to collect the final evidence I needed. I had a hunch the night would be pivotal. Around 10 p.m., I was by the bar, chatting with the groom's uncle. Emma was with Ryan and a few strangers. I saw a woman gesture at Emma's wedding ring and ask if she and Ryan were married. Instead of simply saying no and pointing to me, her actual husband, 20 feet away, Emma put on a performance. She let out a sharp, theatrical laugh and said, "Oh, I'm married, but not to Ryan, sadly." Then she leaned in, conspiratorial, and added, "It's not real, though. It doesn't count when he's so dull." The group snickered, a polite but cutting sound. That was it. No rage, no fireworks in my chest. Just a calm, icy certainty. It was the proof I'd been waiting for. This wasn't a marriage. It was a farce, and I was the joke. I didn't say a word. I gave her a slight nod from across the room. She probably thought it was me being attentive. It wasn't. It was a nod of finality. Message received. I turned, left the ballroom without a glance back, and headed to our hotel room. The party was done. My marriage was done. It was time to put my plan into action. Update 1: The first thing I did in the hotel room was slip off my wedding ring. I placed it on the nightstand and stared at it for a moment. Felt like shedding a disguise. Then I packed my suitcase. Every action was steady, intentional. I wasn't driven by emotion. I was following a blueprint I'd rehearsed in my head for months. I was a man carrying out a mission. Nothing else. I checked out of the hotel, got my car, and drove home. No radio, just quiet. The 40-minute drive was the most serene I'd felt in ages. The burden of pretending, of swallowing her constant subtle disrespect, was gone. I arrived at the house around 11:30 p.m. My house. My first task was securing the property. I went to the smart home panel in the kitchen, pulled up her user profile and deleted it with a few taps. Her access code was erased. Her key fob was disabled. I went to the garage and changed the entry code manually. In minutes, she was a stranger to my home, locked out completely. Next, I cut off the funds. I sat at my desk and logged into our joint bank account, the one I kept funded for her car payments, shopping sprees, and brunches with friends. The balance was a few grand. I transferred every cent to my private account. Then I logged into my primary credit card account. She had a secondary card she treated as her personal slush fund. I reviewed the recent charges. The dress for the wedding, a spa day with Ryan's sister, new luggage for a trip she was planning with her girlfriends. I reported her card as lost. The account was frozen instantly. Her financial lifeline was severed. Then came the tough part, her belongings. I had a stack of new moving boxes in the garage, bought specifically for this moment. For the next 3 hours, I methodically removed her from my home. I wasn't angry or heartbroken. I felt oddly detached, like a caretaker clearing out a tenant's things. I emptied her sprawling closet, her bathroom drawers, her desk in the study. Every dress, every heel, every bottle of overpriced skincare. I was thorough. I sealed each box and stacked them neatly in the garage. The house started to feel like mine again. It was calm. It was orderly. At 3 a.m., I sent a 2-word email to my lawyer, "Start it." Then I went to bed and slept deeply for the first time in a year. The calls began the next morning. First, a chipper, clueless one from the hotel. She assumed I'd gone to work. An hour later, a furious, bewildered one. Her card was declined when she tried to pay for her and Ryan's room service breakfast. An hour after that, full-on panic. She was on the porch and her key wouldn't work. I chose to answer that one. "Jack, what's happening? I'm locked out," she shouted. "I know," I said, my tone even. "What do you mean, this isn't a joke? Let me in." "No," I replied, voice flat. "I heard what you said last night, Emma. I heard you tell everyone our marriage doesn't count because I'm dull. So here's some excitement for you. You're free now. No more boring husband. No more boring house." She started backpedaling naturally. It was a joke. I was overreacting. I'd misunderstood. "It doesn't matter," I said. "It's over. Your stuff is packed in 42 boxes in the garage. A moving company will take them to a storage unit tomorrow. I've paid for 3 months. I'll send you the details when it's done. The bank account is empty. The credit card is canceled. Divorce papers will be served Monday. We're done." I heard Ryan in the background, insisting I was bluffing, saying I was just being theatrical. He'd driven her home, her loyal protector. "You can't do this," she cried. "I already did," I said. "Enjoy your life." I hung up and blocked both their numbers. Phase 1 was complete. Update 2, of course, they didn't just let it go. People like Emma and Ryan don't face consequences gracefully. They need to spin a story where they're the victims. For a few hours, they loitered. My security cameras caught them trying the doors. Ryan puffing out his chest for the camera like some tough guy. It was laughable. He even tried to ram the front door once, then seemed to realize it was solid oak and he wasn't in an action flick. The next day, when the movers arrived, they parked across the street in Ryan's car and watched. I made a point of stepping outside to check the mailbox, then spent 20 minutes tending to my front lawn, completely ignoring them. My refusal to engage seemed to enrage them more than anything. When direct tactics failed, they switched to a smear campaign. Emma's specialty. Within a day, the rumors started. I was the bad guy, a possessive, insecure husband who couldn't handle her having a male friend. Their version was that I'd had a meltdown at the wedding, imagined things, and kicked her out in a jealous rage. It was a clever story, and some people believed it. The first blow came from Emma's mom, who left a long, emotional voicemail about how ashamed she was of me, how Emma was devastated, and how I needed to man up and fix this. I saved the message but didn't respond. Then came texts from Emma's aunts, full of venom. I was a tyrant. I was cruel. They'd make sure everyone knew the truth. They were trying to corner me. They didn't know I'd already cut them off. I needed evidence. Solid evidence. A wedding is a public event, and in 2025, everything's recorded. I didn't want to deal with the official photographer. I thought about who'd have the most footage. The bride's younger cousin, Lily. She'd been filming everything for her social media. I found her online and sent a polite message, saying I was compiling a memory album for the newlyweds and wanted her clips from the reception. She was eager to help and sent me a folder of her videos. I spent an hour sifting through them and then I found it. A clip of people dancing, but in the background, perfectly captured, was the conversation at the bar. The woman asking about Emma's ring. Emma's sharp, fake laugh. And her voice, clear as day, saying, "It's not real though. It doesn't count when he's so dull." It was my trump card. I trimmed the clip to those 10 seconds. I wasn't gonna blast it online, that wasn't the goal. The goal was precision. I sent a group text to a carefully chosen list. The bride and groom, Emma's parents, her sister, and Ryan's long-term girlfriend, Sarah, whose number I had from a group dinner. The message was brief. "I know you've heard a lot of stories. I just want the truth out there. This is a clip from the wedding. The audio matters. This is why my marriage is over." I attached the clip and hit send. Then I silenced my phone and went for a long walk. Final update, it's been 6 months. The divorce is finalized. My lawyer said it was one of the fastest cases he'd handled. A video of your wife publicly dismissing your marriage tends to strip away her leverage. The video didn't just end my marriage. It unraveled their entire world. The bride and groom were livid with Emma for stirring up drama at their wedding and cut contact completely. They even sent me a personal apology, which was a decent gesture. Emma's parents were the real surprise. They're obsessed with their social standing, and the video of their daughter acting so callously was a public embarrassment. From what I heard, they confronted her with the clip, and when she couldn't deny it, they pulled all their support, emotional and financial. The lawyer they'd funded for her was dropped. They told her to get a job and fend for herself for the first time ever. Ryan got hit hardest. Sarah, his girlfriend, was a force of nature. She didn't just leave him, she went nuclear. She posted the video clip on her social media, tagging both of them, and wrote a scathing post about years of deceit and disrespect. It blew up in our social circle. Their narrative against me was buried under a wave of public condemnation. I heard Sarah's dad, a well-connected local entrepreneur, made a few calls. Ryan's career in sales, which depended on his reputation and contacts, is now in ruins. Emma's life, from what I've gathered, has collapsed. She has no money, her parents barely speak to her, and her friends have drifted away. Ryan, now a social pariah, wants nothing to do with her. She's working as a server to get by, living in a cramped apartment with 3 roommates. The glamorous life she thought she deserved is gone. I sold the house. I wanted a clean slate. I bought a sleek condo downtown with a killer view. It's my space. It's quiet. But the real victory wasn't kicking her out. It was exposing the truth. Emma and Ryan built their bond on lies and disregard. All I did was hold up a mirror. They couldn't face what they saw. She called me dull. Maybe I am. But my life is steady. It's real. It's calm. Her life, the one she chose, is a chaotic wreck. She woke up alone in that hotel room. But the truth is, she'd been alone in our marriage for a long time. I just made it official.